Epic Gaming Night is sponsored by Tasty Minstrel Games. Make sure to check out the Tasty Minstrel podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. This podcast is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Thanks for your support. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast. I'm your host, Roy Canny, and with me, as always, is Matt.
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
So today we are
okay.
having a special episode of the podcast. We are going to be having a patron hangout. So hopefully we have some patrons that can call in and join us. The information for our Skype is in the Patreon page. Basically just search us on Skype and add us, and hopefully we can add you to the call and we can talk about different games and things like that. But I think we do want to talk a little bit about some news and stuff that's going on before all that. So pretty exciting stuff's going on. I know there was a Kickstarter that Matt wanted to talk about.
Yeah, man. So Dinosaur Island is back on Kickstarter again, this time with an expansion. And I believe also a little two-player game.
Oh, nice.
But I haven't looked at it at all because I'm not interested in it. But the expansion adds some different things, some new characters, I think some sort of like investor character types and stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're adding a new corporation. One of the big things is they're adding the 5th player expansion into it. So you can now play with 5 players.
Are there new dinosaur types?
Yes. So that was the big thing with this one is they're adding aqua dinosaurs. So
nice.
Not just the color, but a little swimmy creatures. I think it'll be interesting to see if they play differently. But yeah, it should be pretty fun. They we're adding some things like each corporation now has like one particular worker that works more specifically like for their corporation. Like it plays differently based off how you place them and use them, which is something that seems sort of interesting. And then there was something that's like similar to Sagrado, where there are certain things where it sort of gives you points based on how you lay your park out. So if you can achieve, like this particular layout, you'll get some bonus points at the end of the game, which is something that to me seemed really cool because that was sort of one of the things that to me was lacking. Like I didn't feel like buying any of the attractions or anything like that because I could just buy dinosaur pens and then have people come in and look at the dinosaurs. But it's definitely something that's really interesting. But also, like most of the Kickstarters that are going on these days, you can also back and get the original game if you want to. And it's the Extreme Edition, so it's all the same stuff that you could get with the original Kickstarter, the item meeples, the bigger dice, the slap band first player marker, all that stuff. And the Extreme Edition also covers the expansion. So, check it out if you missed the first Kickstarter. Now's your chance to get it without paying extreme amounts of money on the secondhand market.
Yeah, I still really want to play Dinosaur Island because it looks interesting. The main thing is, does it come with a Googly Eyes upgrade for all of your dinosaurs?
No.
You have to get that from Walmart.
Hobby Lobby, yeah. But I don't know. I definitely want to play it again because my first playthrough was okay. I wouldn't say there was anything that I was incredibly impressed by, but it was. So I want to play it again, play a longer version of it, and see if, like, how deep the gameplay really gets.
But what about them Pogs, though?
Well,
underwhelmed.
I mean, I don't know. I never really played with Pogs when I was still too busy with Pokemon constantly.
Oh yeah.
So they have a bunch, and they're just a little cardboard, like a bunch of little cardboard shits and stuff. And it's like, oh, this is cool. I guess if I just need little.
I thought it was pretty funny because there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh man, the Pogs aren't actually like the size of actual Pogs. You had one job." And we were posting and talking about it on Twitter, just back and forth, just about it. And Jonathan Gilmore, the designer, comes in and is like, "It's Pogs 2.0." And I was like, "Dude, man, you can't upgrade perfection. Come on, John." It was pretty fun. Awesome.
Maybe that's what the 2-player game is, right?
No. What's that?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it, but maybe it's based on Pogs. Like, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy. I'll have to check out and see what's going on with the Dinosaur Island stuff. So I haven't had a chance to look at the Kickstarter page yet. So awesome. Yeah. But yeah, and then also another thing we want to talk about as far as new stuff goes is GAMA is going on right now, which is like this trade show for basically where distributors and designers and publishers can meet up with game stores and kind of like show them their new games and things that are going on. And it's more like an industry show, so you don't really have just like people going there to buy stuff. It's more like these people show their stuff off to these people in a networking show. But this is a place where a whole lot of new games can get announced sometimes. And there's some interesting stuff that I've seen so far. I think the show hasn't even really started because everybody's still setting everything up, but there's been a few things like the Dice Towers had a few interviews and things like that already. They talked with Stephen Bonacore about how he's got altogether they're supposed to have like 6 Terraforming Mars expansions. I guess they've already come out with a few of them, but they've got several more expansions on the way. And then there also is a thing where he says something about Terraforming Mars Deluxe, which sounds awesome because that game would be really cool upgraded.
All right.
So
I'm interested.
So that's some pretty cool stuff. And most of the stuff that like we've heard so far, it's not like a ton of pictures and things like that, just people mentioning stuff. They had Restoration Games on, and they talked a lot about Fireball Island, which is a Kickstarter that's going to be coming the very beginning of April. And this is the remake of the old school Fireball Island game where you're flicking the little marbles down a thing. There's people trying to race up to the top. And you're flicking marbles down. And it kind of, they're changing up the game, making the board a little bit more random as far as the marble goes, because I guess before it used to have just like single ruts that it could go down and things like that. So now the marble could come out of the little thing in different ways and could hit different people, and you're trying to figure out how to aim it and like shoot people, but you're also trying to get your little adventurer guys to go around the island to different spots to take pictures as a tourist or something along those lines. But they also announced there's going to be 2 expansions for that, like right off the bat. That are going to be available during the Kickstarter. It's kind of interesting, these Kickstarters that have like immediate add-ons, you know, because I mean, I guess so many Kickstarters nowadays are doing that. But it's kind of like, okay, that's interesting. It's like you can get the base game, but then if you just want to get more game, you can buy this thing and buy this thing too. So I don't know. So they're going to have more stuff for that. I'm really excited to see how the board looks on this thing because it looks pretty cool. They're actually going to be, since they can't like just send copies out for people to preview for the Kickstarter or for whatever, because the manufacturing of this whole 3D mountain that they're basically having to make, they're having J.R. Honeycutt like go on like a world tour of going around and showing it to people so that they can make videos with it. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's pretty neat.
So he's going to be at conventions and things like that. But yeah, so that was that. I know there was several other things announced, but there's going to be a lot of news for GAMA. So I'm sure we can keep our eyes out on what's going on with all the new games and things like that as well. So that should be super exciting.
Yeah.
And the Golden Geeks were announced. I'm pretty sure Gloomhaven won like everything. So that was pretty crazy. And then the one thing that I was really excited about is that that Century won Best Card Game.
Hey.
And I texted Emerson as soon as I saw it, and he's like, "What, for real?" Like he didn't know. So like I was able to break the news to Emerson, like, "Hey man, you won the Golden Geek for Best Card Game with Century." He's like, "Oh man, that's amazing." He's like, "Dude, you're the first person to tell me that." I'm like, "What? No way." So he was at like a convention, and he like sent me a picture, and he's like, "I'm so happy right now." So, that guy's awesome. So if you haven't listened to our last episode with Emerson, make sure to go back and check it out. Matt, no, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Yep.
God, I'm so sad.
Hey, it just means we're gonna have to have him on again soon, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So, super awesome stuff. But now I think we'd like to get some patrons in here. So, I guess we'll add someone in if anybody's ready. Let me know in chat or on Skype if you want. Just message me and let me know, and I can try to get you in. And if you don't know what the Skype is, you should just be able to search for it and add us on there. But yeah.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, super exciting. And basically we're just going to be talking about games and things like that. Let me go back to the actual call so everybody can see Matt's beautiful face. Matt has the like super centerfold in this episode of like, it's all Matt all the time.
Yeah.
He's got his old gaming chair.
Mm.
I've got a green screen.
I'm pretty sure this chair would be very comfy if my bags still weren't like mildly messed up.
Lame.
Yeah.
Good times though.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, when are we doing RPG again?
So it's supposed to be the last Sunday of the month.
Okay.
So whichever day that is. I could look it up. But yeah, so that'll be super exciting. Say what?
That'll be that week I asked off.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, perfect timing, I guess.
Nice. But are you off on Monday?
I don't know. I'll have to check. They haven't posted that schedule yet. So I don't know. Also, if anybody happens to know what I was planning on doing, not this weekend, but the weekend afterwards, please let me know, because I asked off for work, and I don't remember why. So, that'd be nice.
Adam will be like, you're coming up to Michigan and playing games.
I mean, yeah. I'm pretty sure I am coming to Dice Tower Con this year, so I'm definitely planning on it, so I should see everybody down there.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome because it's such a different convention because it's literally just like hang out and play games convention, like, but there's a ton of people, like a lot of people, but they have the space for them. It's so crazy because we go to so many of these conventions and it's just like hard to find a table to play games at, and it's hard to like get to play games with the people you want to because people are running around doing so much stuff like constantly. And it's just like I really just wish I could hang out and like do things and stuff like that. But like Dice Tower Con is like the perfect con for that. And also it's like, isn't it like from Wednesday to Sunday? So it's just like a lot of days in a row.
I didn't realize it was that long, but that's pretty cool.
It's just like games.
I also like that because if you're not necessarily like super keen on playing games 4 days in a row, you can be like, I'll play for 3, and then on the 4th day, maybe go to like MGM or Universal or something and ride some roller coasters.
And because majority of the convention is, I mean, there's not too many. I mean, there's a bunch of Dice Tower events. If you want to go watch the Dice Tower guys do a top 10 or have like some designer panels and stuff like that. Oh, I want to go see the designer panel where Emerson's talking about games with all these other designers and things like that. You can go do that stuff, but none of it's like super pressing. So it's kind of like you can either just play tons of games the whole time or just like go do other things. I mean, taking long lunches isn't like, you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I gotta rush back because we're missing the convention, because the convention is just people playing games. So it's kind of like you can be a lot more chill with a lot of stuff. So Dice Tower Con is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know what else I want to do this year. So, I don't know. Are there any cons in September? Let me ask that now before I commit to something else.
I mean, there are. I think we're trying to do the next Recon in September. That's not really the same thing. What's in September? Is that when Essen is?
Ah, yes. Of course. We're going to Essen.
Exactly. Nothing that I'm planning on going to.
Let me brush off my passport. Okay.
Because November is Board Game Geek Con, which I'm also not going to. And then very beginning of December is PAX Unplugged. Like, Yeah. So I wonder how hard that's going to be
Is
for
it
you
still
to.
in Philly?
Yep.
Oh boy. Oh,
Was
okay.
that make it rough?
I
I
mean,
know
it's just
that
it's
time
there.
of year is so hard to get away from retail.
Well, I don't even. It's not even that. It's just
Cold.
yeah. Like Philly's not exactly a really warm city.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I don't know.
You're like, too cold for me.
Yeah, it's something. No, I'll probably check it out, but I
I'd
mean, because the
I'd
last time
like
was in
to
November,
try to
so.
go to it because there's some cool people that are going to be going to that aren't going to be going to other conventions around the states that I'm going to. So it'd be cool to
Mhm.
be like, okay, cool, let me go to that. And I've heard that it's like a much different atmosphere than a
Yeah,
lot of
it
other
is.
conventions. So maybe the audience skews younger, or they're more like, I don't know. It's more like the PAX fans as opposed to like the board game fans.
Yeah, that's what I was noticing. The group I was with, there were two or three people who were sort of really into board games. Maybe not the style of games that I was into,
Yeah.
um, but the everybody else was just like, "Oh yeah, we go to PAX East every year, so we just figured we'd come here." And it's like, I mean, okay, that's fine. They're like, we'll play some games, we'll walk around, we'll eat some food, hang out with people that we don't get to see that often. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Nice.
But again, that
Did
was
you go watch any of like the role playing stuff or anything like that?
no, it was wild though. I remember we were leaving one day and we were just walking down the stairs leaving the main convention and we looked down this hallway and that's where all the RPG stuff was going on and it just looked like a mass of like a zombie horde was coming and I was like, "Oh my god." Like basically however many people were in the convention hall, they were an equal number playing RPGs over
Nice.
here at this other area. And I was like, "That's insane. That's crazy. These people are going ham on some RPGs." And I mean, I'm happy for them, but like, that's just wild.
I think they normally do like their like at every PAX they do their Acquisitions Incorporated. I don't know if you watch the PAX D&D stuff.
I've I haven't really gotten into it. I know of it, and I think I remember watching part of a live stream one time, but then never really committed to it. I guess I don't know. I was just watching it. And was just like, okay, well, this is neat. Patrick Rothfuss is here. That's fun. And then basically just tuned out at some point because internet. There's just so much to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I guess we can talk a little bit about like some games we've been playing.
Yeah.
I got a chance to. I finally I had taken like my Arkham Horror LCG decks apart because I was trying to like start a new campaign while I was doing the live Dice Tower marathon. I was gonna try to play with Z and Mark, and it's kind of funny because like Mark and Z were on like these schedules of games, and me and Rob were on these schedules of games. So we basically like never like we didn't have downtime off of camera together. Like I mean, besides like eating and stuff like that. But it was always just like if we're live, they're not live, and if they're live, we're not live. Like I wasn't scheduled a single game with Mark, which was kind of funny. I was like, hey, Tom's trying to keep us apart. We still played games together because there were ones where he said like, oh, everybody can play or whoever wants to play can play. But it was kind of funny. But they ended up playing, but I didn't get a chance to play any of the stuff, and they just played one of the like one-off stuff. So I had to fix my decks back so I could play like the regular campaign. And I played the second to last scenario of the Dunwich Legacy cycle. And if you haven't seen like the Arkham Horror LCG, it's basically like a collectible card game sort of thing where you have a deck that you built, but it's like very simple deck building, but then you're playing through like a story. And as you play through the story, there's things that will like carry on from like scenario to scenario, and then like you'll get experience points that you can actually use to upgrade your deck. So you can't just go hog wild or have tons of choices when you're doing the deck building. You're just slowly upgrading your deck with little bits of experience points that you get. And then also like the board that you play on are like different cards, so it feels almost like a board game because you're moving around on cards, but it's a board game that you can't really see the whole map because more new cards will come out and more things will be revealed. And it's kind of cool because there's a lot of replayability in the fact that you'll have like a location type, but then there'll be like 4 copies of that location, but you only use one of them during the game. So it's kind of like I used one location. The next time I play this scenario, I could get a completely different location, and that would tweak things a little bit. But it's definitely a lot of fun. I'm like at the very end of like the entire campaign. The campaign has been there's 2 games in the deluxe set, and then I've done 5 other games. So I've done 7 games in this campaign so far, and it's crazy how much stuff like comes back from the past to affect the things that are going on in the future. Like when you're setting up different scenarios, it'll ask you questions about things that happen in your campaign, and it'll adjust the current scenario based off choices you made. Like, I mean, I'm just gonna straight out say it. Like, I helped out some gang members at a bar, and now I'm at the end of the campaign, and these gang members ended up like shooting up some things and ended up helping me out, so I got like some extra bonuses going into the certain campaign. Because I saved some different people's lives and they weren't sacrificed, I ended up not having as much negatives. I did have one person get sacrificed, so I did have 1 negative, and that person's not able to be in my campaign, but the people that I saved I can actually put into my deck now, and I have people from all these different scenarios that are added into my deck that can pop up when I randomly draw them and use them as I'm going along through the story. And just a bunch of different things like that just make it feel very immersive. And I'm pretty sure, like, as far as just like straight card games go, like this is my favorite card game, just because how much story they put into it. And I mean, I normally don't have a lot of time for campaign games, but the fact that I can play this solo, I can get it in there when I have a chance, like a down moment to play games, and I just really, really enjoy the Arkham Horror LCG. I think it's a blast. So
it's definitely a really interesting LCG, because I remember when you first talked about it, I was just like, okay, card game, yay. But when we played it, it definitely does feel, it almost has a Mansions of Madness light feel to it, because it definitely sets up a board and tries to tell you a very interesting narrative experience.
And it's crazy because it's not even necessarily light, it's just Mansions of Madness different.
Yeah, definitely. I guess light on the traveling requirements. You can.
Oh yeah. And it's definitely way less expensive too.
Yeah, so there's been an interesting sort of glut of CCG type games on Steam recently.
Oh, weird.
That remind me very much of how Arkham Horror works. It's not exactly the same, but it's basically like you have a deck of cards, and these cards refer to like combat moves, and so your goal is to try and like get as far as you can. So you're moving along a path, and you're using your cards to fight these different monsters and stuff like that, and then there are certain times where you can upgrade your cards so they'll do more damage, or you can get rid of some cards in your deck or add new cards.
Yeah.
And it's something very, very interesting.
That's cool.
So I don't know. I think it'd be neat to see something kind of like that come out of just an LCG, since Arkham Horror has kind of shifted, I guess, how LCGs work and function.
Yeah, and I feel like they started it a little bit with the Lord of the Rings, like LCG, just having a cooperative version of like a collectible style card. It's not really collectible, but you know, a card game that you build your deck, but you're actually cooperating. One of the main things I love about that is like, I mean, I was posting a bunch of pictures of my games, and a bunch of people were like, hey, how much do I need to buy to get into this? And I'm like, well, actually, like, I wouldn't suggest trying to get all of it. Like, literally just start with the core set. Once you've played all the scenarios in the core set, then buy one more scenario, you know? It's just like very slowly build up. Like, as you've beaten everything that you have already, you can buy the next one. I mean, that's basically what I do. I'm a few packs behind, but I don't worry about that because I just buy them as I actually beat them and need more content to play. So, it's pretty fun because so many of those, like, if you went to go get Game of Thrones and like all your friends play Game of Thrones and they're like, oh, you should play the Game of Thrones LCG, you just be so far behind that you'd have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to be able to catch up to where they are, you know? So the fact that you can just play this game casually at your own pace makes it so much easier to get into.
Yeah. It's almost like I don't know how Legendary has that like similar thing where it's just like, oh, what do I need to get in a Legendary? Just the box, just a box.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. I don't even know what's going on now. Nobody's online.
That's okay. Mark is ribbing Adam in chat, so it's pretty good.
Hey, do those guys want to come in? I'm just gonna call Steve Avery's online. I'll just call him instead.
Boy, here we go. It'll be a 3.5 hour show, but we're not going to talk about anything. It's going to be great.
So crazy. Crazy. But yeah. Hey, somebody call in and talk to us about the games they've been playing. Do it. I see people in chat. Let's do it. Yes, Mark. Do you have? Does it say that I'm online? We'll take multiple people. We'll take turns talking. Whoever wants to come in. I gotta figure out how to. Do I not have Mark on this?
I feel like you do. He's called in before.
I see Street.
Not necessarily called in.
Oh, I have a mutual contact with Mark Kale. This guy. No, I don't want to start a new one. Mark, add me as a contact. Just search Epic Gaming Night. Hopefully it'll work. Because I have to add to the call. Add people. There we go. Boom. Let's see if that worked. Maybe not. I lost your picture for a second. Oh man.
Am I in? Am I in?
Mark is in. How's it going, man?
Good. How about y'all?
Pretty good.
Can't complain too much.
So what games have you been playing, Mark? Tell us a little bit about your gaming experiences lately.
Well, just this past weekend was the quarterly MooseCon.
Yeah, I actually had some people like asking me about that, and I'm like, oh yeah, Mark didn't actually tell me about that, so I didn't know.
I put it up on Facebook. I always assume everybody just sees it.
Gotcha.
Rob knew about it, but he just didn't show up.
Gotcha. I'm pretty sure I have Mega Moose blocked or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. I don't.
Oh, buddy.
But we probably had 40, 50 people. This is about the norm.
Dang.
Nice.
And I got to play Istanbul again, which I know that's an old game, but I just discovered it up at Scarab in January. And man, that's such a great game.
Yeah. I've got it in Shrink behind me.
Maybe we should get together and remedy that sometime.
Yeah.
So where do you hold the smaller Mega Mooses that y'all do? Or the regular MooseCon, not Mega MooseCon?
Right, yeah. I do have a whole branding issue there I have to get over at some point, but it's actually held at the VFW in Fort Mill.
Gotcha.
And it used to be held at the Moose Lodge, which is where the whole Moose name came from, because I was having it at the Moose Lodge and we called it MooseCon. But then the Moose Lodge, there was a whole big falling out and they weren't taking care of the place, so we had to move it, and so now it's at the VFW in Fort Mill. After
the Great Moose War of 2016. No, I'm just kidding. Nice.
Yeah. And of course we got in, it's kind of a MooseCon tradition to do a big Battlestar Galactica game. So that's how we started off today with Battlestar, and I got to be a Cylon, and we won. So, that just started the day off perfectly.
Easy mode.
We did have 2 Cylons to start with, so maybe.
Yeah. I always think, like, when you're the betrayer or the traitor in some of these games, it's like, okay, this is easy mode. I just got to figure out, like, what to do. I always, I enjoy being the good guys or the humans or the not betrayers better, because I mean, it's just so easy to trick Rob every time. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Roy's always the betrayer.
Nah.
Great.
It's so much fun when he can't be here to defend himself.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Rob is currently on the road. He's going to go visit family in Arkansas, so he'll be out a little bit, but he's definitely in our thoughts as he travels. I think he's traveling tonight. So
I remember last week he was like, I mean, I can call in while I'm driving, and it's like, Rob, please. Like, what are you doing, man?
he's going back to like episode 6 or whatever, where he called us from Disney World. So
I can be a Rob sub. Let me tell you about all this money I spent on Kickstarter on these minis this week.
Hey, there you go.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Did you back any Kickstarters recently, Mark?
No, I haven't, man. That Batman Kickstarter,
It keeps getting
looks
better.
So good, man. But they want so much
$140
money
for the
that.
base.
And you can't do it. I mean, you can't just do the base. It doesn't even come with the Batmobile if you do the base. I mean, come on, man.
I'm actually more interested in the 2-player thing, because I really like the way that the whole river thing works for the one in the 1 versus mini. So I feel like when you have cards for all the good guys too, being able to do 2-player combat like that might be pretty interesting.
Oh.
Have you played Conan?
I haven't yet. No, I haven't had an opportunity to play it yet.
And that's another thing that eats me up about the game, is that I've played Conan and I really enjoyed it. So it's just like, because I don't really care about the Conan theme, but Batman, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's
so good. It looks so good.
Who's got those pennies? I don't make that. I don't make
Rob.
that. I don't make that.
Yeah.
Adam Sparkles money. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I don't back stuff like Rob does, man. The last thing I backed was Loot and Shoot, and it pooped out, man. I was on Steve's team for that one.
Man.
Yeah, I was in on that too. You had to for the Avery game, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta support Avery, and then honestly, I just want to introduce rubber band guns to my home so that my wife will love me more.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that's how it goes down.
Oh boy.
I remember I played Rubber Banditos one time. Robert Burke invited me and Steve Avery and Nate Bivens and Richard, I can't remember his last name. He does a podcast about the Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he introduced us to the rubber band gun. Man, that was so much fun. Just all of a sudden, just draw. I was like, this is crazy.
I feel like that game would be such a huge hit at the brewery game nights that we have in my area. I just want to see the sheer pandemonium of having that in the middle of 15 tables in a busy brewery.
Mm-hmm.
I want that chaos.
I just remember when he was letting us play Rubber Banditos at Mace. He was like, and there are some things that you can do. I don't remember if it was like an ending thing or if we were making stipulations. I don't remember exactly how it worked.
I just remember the draw thing where they had to
shoot. There was some draw, sometimes you had to shoot behind you, and there were some really crazy things that made a game that's already very spastic even more crazy. And it's oh yeah, no,
I think there was a thing where you just got to empty your clip or something like that.
Yeah,
it's just you put as many things on there. It's just it was pretty fun.
The first time I was like, you mean we're really literally gonna shoot rubber bands at each other? He's like, yeah, that's the way it goes. I was like, Steve, you're never gonna get somebody to publish this. You know that, right? Oh,
he's fueled by life, man.
Yeah, I know it.
He really is.
Awesome, man. Well, Adam, you just came back from Hawaii. I'm sure you had a really rough time out there. Have you gotten a chance to do any gaming or anything like that?
I played a little bit of games in Hawaii. I took some little stuff with me. My daughter is usually good for airport gaming and things like that. So lots of zombie dice. Lots of zombie dice in Hawaii. That's a good portable one. I have it in just have the whole game in just a bag, dice bag. Played a lot of Sleeping Queens. Shout out Game Right, who's dropping Forbidden Sky here real soon.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm excited for. So I played a lot of that kind of stuff, like Sleeping Queens, like I said, Zombie Dice, Rolling America. Been doing that, but back home now, so I'm looking forward to wrapping up my Charterstone campaign, which has been really cool.
I don't know if this will work. I'm trying to add people in.
What have you thought about Charterstone so far? I haven't cracked the shrink on mine yet.
You know what? I mean, it's very Euro-y in the sense of like, you know, it's a straight worker placement resource management game, but man, like building the map to make your own game as you go is like super satisfying.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on?
Oh, good. I didn't want to interrupt.
No, it's all right. But you can ultimately end up with 2 games end of Charterstone, like if you buy the refresh pack, and I think that from that standpoint, it's a pretty simple kind of little Euro game. I'm playing it with my son. I'm playing a 2-player right now, and I've enjoyed it. Like it's very like Jamie Stegmaier. Like everything is really well thought out. Like the components are all really excellent. It comes with all wood and metal. All like that I've just right out of retail. I mean, I'm enjoying that, and I'm actually also finally, for the first time ever, playing Pandemic Legacy.
Oh, nice!
Oh, wow!
The first one.
The first one. I have been trying to get that game to the table with a regular group. Or something.
What month are you in?
I only just finished February, so I'm like really brand new in it. So we're going into March, probably Friday or Sunday. I'll play March.
It's about to get interesting. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I got a feeling.
It's always funny with those games because like when the things always trigger on the same month, or at least in the first one. I think it's probably different with the second one. But like you can ask people, oh, what month are you in? And you can kind of know what's kind of going on in their game. So it's kind of interesting.
Man, the second one got a little rough because when we were playing it, there were certain things that were like, hey, you're moving into June. If you haven't opened door 61, open that, but also these other 2 doors. And I'm like, oh, good. What's happening?
That's the pandemic's way of saying you're failing.
I think we lost like 6 or 7 games in a row. Like it got it got real bad there for a while.
Ouch.
But I think we're coming back around. I don't know. We might still just watch the world burn while we're on a boat somewhere.
So we have Pasquale here with us, man. How's it going? Have you been playing any games recently?
Yeah, quite a few. Especially since I made a kind of a never played × 1 challenge.
Oh,
so
nice.
Any games in my collection that I've never played that have just been sitting on my shelves. So I'm 5 or 6 games in. One of which is Conan. I just actually got 4 games in because once it finally made it to the table, it was hard to take off. That is quite a spectacular game. I'm looking on eBay now to finally just pay a premium and get the rest of the stuff.
Gotcha.
And I've backed Batman.
So did you just have the core set for Conan?
Oh, I just have the retail core set.
Gotcha.
The other game that I just fell in love with, Agents of Smersh.
Dude, I'd really like to play that.
I love this game.
Have you heard about this, Matt?
I have not.
So Agents of Smersh is basically sort of like a secret
Tales
agent,
of
Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Yes.
Whoa.
And it's something that I probably should own but don't have.
It's hard to get now.
Man.
I purchased it off I guess the Geek Market, and it came with some of the Kickstarter extras. But now I'm just looking for the rest of it, and it's hard to find. It's just out of print. The Australia map and some additional scenarios, because that is, I regret not playing. So this my 25 by 1 challenge is great. I'm just playing a whole bunch of games that I own that not made it to the table, and those 2 just stand out over everything. I'm learning Flatline now by Renegade Games.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm just picked it up and just trying to go through that rule set.
That's definitely awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, like, when they do the New Year's thing, they'll do, like, the 5x5 or 10x10, and one year I tried to do, like, every single game in my collection, and I was, like, checking off each one. I think that's when Matt basically just first started the game group, and I was just like, Matt, we're playing through all my games.
And I absolutely loved and adored it because I was like, I want to just play Betrayal because that's the only one I know about. And then we just played for like most of your collection, and I was like, oh yeah, this is good. This is
It was kind of
This is
interesting.
fun.
By the end of the year, the games that I had left, I'm just like, if I couldn't figure out how to get them in the year, but now I feel like I have too many long games to make that work. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I even have one game in my collection that has been out of print for like 10 years. I thought it was a myth. Marvel Heroes.
oh yeah.
This was printed by Fantasy Flight, I think in 2005.
Mhm.
I might be wrong on that. That's actually not bad. It was a pretty good game. It's just a pity I bring it up on your show when you can't get it unless.
Thanks a lot.
Well, actually, I think you can get it now for $60 on eBay. Is when I last checked.
eBay pirates everywhere. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but that
I was
is
looking for a Smirsh on eBay right now, and I think it's going about 80. It looks like too.
Oh dag.
yeah, and
A
that's
lot
the
of-
core set. Yeah,
Yeah.
A lot
You
of
can find
times
the
with
core set reasonably cheap. Sorry.
A lot of times with
There's-
stuff like that, you can try, if you have games that you're trying to get rid of, you can try to set up Board Game Geek trade sometimes and get a better deal. Like if you're like,
Yep.
okay, I have these games that this person wants, maybe I can trade them that for that other game. But it depends. Like sometimes people are stingy and be like, well, that game's worth a lot of money now. Or other times people will just be happy to give it to someone who, or trade it to someone who's excited to play it. It just depends on who you can hook up with on Board Game Geek. So if you haven't checked out trading on Board Game Geek, I definitely do a lot of
Right.
that sometimes. So it can be a good way to
same
find some
here,
hard to find
same here,
stuff.
and I agree. You can usually get a better deal doing it that way. And like you said, people are usually pretty reasonable on there. Every once in a while, I've got a couple people that were like, "No, this is worth, $100, so you're gonna have to give me half your collection before I give that up," And I was like, no
Good luck
thanks.
with that.
Yeah,
Do you,
really.
do you guys remember the week when Fury of Dracula was announced? It was that week I went into Barnes and Noble, which happened to have Fury of Dracula on red sticker the same week that like the whole divorce from the IP was announced.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
And so I bought it because I'd only ever played it once, and I was like, well, I'm going to get this because it was fun and it's going to be gone. And for about 7 days before people realized that there was so much in stock that it was never going away, I didn't do it. But you could have sold that thing for about $300 on various sites and groups. And I just kept looking at mine going, $300 won't be worth it if I can never play this. And I've yet to play it since I bought it. But man, people went ravenous. They were ravenous for that.
Forbidden Stars did the same thing at the same
thing.
time, and I had an in-shrink copy. It's like, oh, I need to sell this. And it's like, no, I can't do it. Just like you, it's like I like the game too much, and it's still in shrink. So
I actually
Hey, man, you
traded
should've
mine
sold-
away because I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it kind of when we played it with like smaller player counts, but when we played it with 4, which was the way I really wanted to play it, like the combat dragged so much. I was just like, I've got so many big games. I don't know if this is the one that I need, and everybody else wanted it. So a guy offered me like a ton of Descent for Forbidden Stars, and I'm just like, okay, I'll take a ton of Descent. It's fine. So
And it's always
That was
good to have
when-
more Descent stuff.
Yeah, that was when Pokemon Go was coming out. So I remember one time you and Rob were like doing, so it was like a combat, and like me and AJ are like running through your neighborhood at this point because there was a Venusaur somewhere, and we just literally got up, left the room because I was like, it's gonna be at least another 10 minutes, and we're just running down like the street in like Roy's neighborhood looking for this dumb Pokemon.
oh
And we
wow.
come back and you're still doing combat, and it was just like, wow, okay, cool,
yeah,
perfect. It's like, did you get the Venusaur? No, we couldn't find it.
I love the mechanics of that game, and I love a bunch of different stuff. And the combat is pretty cool. Like, it's got a bunch of things going on, but it's not very much fun for the people who aren't in it. So,
It's so long. Like, if you could find a way to cut it out and streamline it, that would
well, I mean,
be-
it's like each combat you have tons of ship or tons of units, and then there's like 3 rounds of combat each time you go into combat. It's just like, what's going on? So.
Yeah.
Do you expect FFG will now make will just reskin that game so they can use that asset? I mean, they had what was it, StarCraft?
StarCraft. I mean,
And then
maybe
they had
maybe they'll make something that's similar, but not necessarily the exact same thing. I mean, honestly, if they made one that just had a little bit more streamlined combat, I mean, there's a lot of people that like the combat a lot, but it's just like it's kind of grueling a little bit, like how much goes into it. I mean, because a lot of the game is like, okay, you're upgrading this combat deck and you're figuring out how to get things to work, but then you're playing all these different combat cards. I mean, it's like you're playing like a mini CCG game with all this dice rolling that you're using as resources as you're playing the CCG game in the middle of this board game, which is fun if you're playing the game 2 players. But not necessarily if you're playing it 4 players and there's people that combat doesn't matter at all to. At least if it's on your border, you can be like, well, I hope this person wins or that person wins. But when it's all the way on the other side of the galaxy, you're just like, I care about nothing. So,
good day. I'm such a sucker for space games. Like, I will go into my friendly local game store and I will just go down the sci-fi aisle. And I'll just stare at space games I've never even heard of and almost do like an old school 80s box buy. Like, this just looks dope. I just want to have it on my table and stare at it. As you guys know, I'm just addicted to staring at full tables of games.
Yeah.
I bought Pulsar 2 months ago.
That's good.
It's actually really good.
Pulsar, very good. I've set it up twice as many times as I've played it just to set it up. It's like a Lego set to me.
Dude,
like, it's
Matt,
so
have
great.
you played Pulsar?
I have not.
I feel like it's a game you would really like because it's kind of got this like interesting Euro-y mechanics, but it's still like space, like, and trying to gain technology and stuff like that, and you're drafting dice and different things like that. It's a lot of fun.
I remember
it's a Euro at heart, but it's got this you've got that dice reliance. You've got that random that comes in when you do that initial dice roll for the drafting. And I just love dice drafting, like, a ton. And the map is always a little bit different, and you kind of still get that sense that you're going around the world when you're kind of doing a resource grab. It's so pretty. It's that circular board. All of the components are meant to, when you lay it out, to kind of form this orbit around the board too. Like, it is just... That game is delightful to play, and you can do so much stuff.
Man, I think it's love.
I love it. I really do love that game.
When I played, I sit over and I just did the engineering cards, I think they're called. Is it engineering, technology?
There's like satellite things that you can build
too. Yeah. But I just sit over and did that, and I moved like 4 spaces on the board, and that was it. And I still came in like a real close third. So,
and there's a ton of ways to do it. You could spend all of your action just like boom, like just dropping yourself onto different planets, and then dropping your the pulsars, the
gyrodynes or whatever they are.
Many things.
Yeah, you can do the gyrodynes. Like, you could just do gyrodynes in Discovery, and you have a shot. Like, it is. It's cool in the sense that there's so much to do, but I mean, there is like a pretty low level of player interaction. You're not really gonna do anything other than block somebody. Or draft them, draft them a little.
You can take a die that somebody wanted, or take a transmitter card somebody wanted, or there's a little bit.
There's that whole like bidding for like position, like turn order, and then also like getting those extra cubes or whatever, which the interaction can come in there a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I think the bid and the draft, you can kind of do that. Like, you kind of are like jockeying. When I've had a 4-player game, like, you can really the turn order in that game is so important, especially the last 2 turns, that like you have to be setting up that turn or almost 2 turns. It's really good. Like, it's a smart little game. I really do enjoy the crap out of it.
Oh, okay. So is it like Steampunk Rally then, where you would draft parts or machine parts? Each of them comes with some type of a die that you would power that machine part, and then you're rolling that die to see how much resources you have to power that technology or so? I'm trying to bridge Steampunk Rally to Pulsar.
It's literally just D6s.
Yeah. So you roll D6s first.
D6, yeah.
And then you line them up in ascending order, and then you actually have a marker for the median die, and then taking dice that are certain above or below the power median will affect your turn order or your resource grab on the following turn.
Okay.
So that's what they do, and then each different die has a different action assigned to its value.
Right.
So it's it sounds complicated at first because you have to do that little median marker every time, but once you do it a couple times, it's pretty easy. That's kind of the dice draft nets. It's not quite
That's the drafting component you were talking about. I understand then. Okay.
Yeah, you never roll them after that.
Right.
Gosh, I haven't played that in a few weeks. I'm looking at it right now. I'm just thinking about it on my table.
I really enjoyed it because it was one of the games that me and Trevor played that, like, by the end of it wasn't, like, normally when we play Euro-y type games like that, Trevor just blows me out of the water. Well, I mean, at the first few turns he blows me out of the water, and then I kind of catch up a little bit, but kind of can't. This game, I was, like, just ahead the whole time. I'm sorry, Trevor, but it was just like, by the end of it, he's just like, I can't catch up. I'm like, nope. And just moving all the things, getting all the dice, doing all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that was fun when you get introduced to a new game and actually do really good the first time you play it. So it's good stuff.
I like that. Like everybody that I played with had played before, but they're all like, "You got to play this game because you're gonna like it. You're gonna like this game. We know this is a game you're gonna like."
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I really enjoyed it. But that's how I like to find games. You know, like people watch reviews and everything else. I like for people just to come up and be like, "You got to play this game because it's one that you're gonna like." You know, the people that know me. So
that's awesome. Have you gotten your Heroes stuff yet, Adam?
No, so I'm expecting it any day now.
Gotcha, because I saw that Rob got his.
Yeah, Rob got his. Dude, as soon as Rob got his, like, every time I come to and from a shoot or a meeting, I, like, drive past my house. I'm just looking for a box right now. Like, that's another game that will get set up in various iterations on my table and taken down before I ever play it. Like, I'll just look at it and take pictures of it.
What all did you get from the Kickstarter? Did you get, like, the 2 sets, or how far did you back into it?
I did everything but the painted miniatures.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I think there's only 2 or 3 levels anyway. It was a pretty simple. I kind of like that Gameland does this, and they did it, I think, with Tiny Epic stuff too. Like, they don't have like it's not confusing. It's like you can do X or Y, and then that's it. Like, then I think the minis were in the painted minis. I think were in the Pledge Manager. I didn't do that, so I should have the core box. Is it 2 mini expansions and 2 primary expansions, I want to say?
It's got like the mercenary guys or whatever.
That's what it is.
So yeah, and then I think they had like add-ons afterwards, like a play mat and sleeves and stuff like that. But
I didn't do the play mat. I really wanted to because I love play mats, but I'm reaching this weird point where I'm like, I don't know where to keep these without getting creased and wrinkled. They're huge.
Yeah, same.
My Champions one is just sitting back here.
I actually saw someone had like a wall mounted like wine holder, and they had rolled up the playmats and had all the playmats in the wine holder. And I'm like, that's a really good idea.
That's a good idea.
That is, I did back a Kickstarter that was this basically like game organization thing that's like a metal tower that you just put games in, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll back this thing instead of just buying bookcases because it'll be roughly the same price. And they had like an add-on for like a little thing that like you could hang on the side of it that just literally had rungs like that were like wine holders that you could put your play mats in, and I was like, yes,
that's awesome.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
The other alternative, Adam, if you really wanted to, is to try and put it on your wall in a way that you can make it look like a picture, but then be able to take it out whenever.
Tapestries.
Yeah,
have your playmat tapestry.
Velcro, and I just put it up down here in my gaming dungeon. That would fly. It could it could
use
go,
those command hook things that you just put on the back of it, man.
Yeah, I could just put it on over here next to Superman.
Wait, you don't put all your playmats in the bedroom?
I just hang them over the back of my sofa, right? For throw blanket.
See, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I just got my first mat a few weeks ago, never having played on them. And I really like it now. So it was one of the Arkham Horror LCG mats at an Invocation event, right? Great art and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But now what I'm thinking of doing for my game table is try to find a 4x4 mat. So that way I'll just roll it out, have it just on the top of my table, and then there you go. I don't need 6-7 mats or a different art. I'll have one for traveling and the other for my table at home. I might just do it that way.
Yeah, I got my playmat that I use because my wife made me my table, and I got the Epic Gaming Night logo made on a 4x4 playmat. You can go to like Inked Gaming if you wanted to make a custom one. You could put whatever you want on it. They're not super cheap, but if you like sign up for their newsletter, you can be like, okay, like during like Labor Day and like 4th of July and things like that, they'll normally have like huge sales, like, okay, everything's 30% off, everything's 40% off, and you can just be like, okay, 40% off, now's the time to buy a custom playmat because it's a lot cheaper. So
yep. I just a quick search on for inked playmats, I found a 40% off coupon.
Oh, nice.
As much of, so there you go. I think I might just go that way.
But yeah, as long as you can graphic design something up that looks cool, or just have it however you want. I think they've also got like terrain type ones you can buy if you're like doing miniatures games stuff. So there's that.
Okay.
But yeah, good stuff. But yeah, awesome. I know Rob was in chat for a little bit, but he must have jumped in and jumped out. He just mentioned Pokemon Go and then left.
Yeah. I was wondering if you
actually, if you're ever thinking of having a Kickstarter, that could be one of the add-ons, an Epic Gaming Night playmat or so. If that ever comes up,
it would be awesome if they weren't. I mean, they're pretty expensive to make, so it's like, man, I would like if enough people wanted us to like have that as like a Patreon thing or something like that, but I would have to try to find out how to make it, because I got this one and Rob has one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But they're not that cheap. Like, it's like, oh, you want to make a custom playmat? $30. Like, if you can get the 40% off coupon, that's a little bit better. But
the 18 by 18 is $24.99 right now.
That's not bad.
Inked gameplay. It's not for your own. That's for the custom. That's not horrible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one with my face and just put it down here in my game. It'd be funny.
That's what you need. Yeah.
Just.
Nice.
For some odd reason, I can just see Mark doing that and then just giving it to Rob next time we're at a comic. He's like, here you go, man, I got you a present. And Rob's like, what's this? Oh, great. I'm going to leave this here.
I'm afraid of what he'd do with it after he got it.
That's true. That's true. You gotta worry about that.
Yeah.
Boy.
I actually think it'd be a good one. I think we should get one made of Rob, and he can take it with him to conventions and just wrap people in it and hug them. It'll be like an anointment. It's like getting knighted from the handsomest man in board gaming.
Handsome Rob Playmat.
The handsome Rob Playmat, man.
Yeah.
Nice. As long as it's wood scented as well.
They're not awful.
Of course.
Ship it in cedar packaging, right?
We'll have to get the broken token.
Let's see. Let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, man, those things do smell really good.
You can try 80 on the farm.
Yeah.
They smell amazing.
Blank Playmat.
Just like open it up and you're like, ah, yes, wood. This is what I need in my life.
Charred wood.
Smells like maybe 48 by 48 is $80.
That's crazy.
That is a big mat, though.
That's a pretty big mat. I mean, for that price, it's not. I mean, you need a table that you can put a 48 by 48 on. Most people have a table that's not going to be 48 in one direction. Look if they're doing it at home.
I don't know how wide mine is, but I think my table's 9 foot long.
You got one of them Game of Thrones tables where you're like, I sit at the top. You guys filter in.
Well, I got a good deal on it. I was looking for when I moved in a new house. I was looking for a game table, and I kept finding them, like 4-foot tables or something like that. And I actually bought one of those. But then I had talked to this guy in Virginia, and he was wanting I don't know, $400 for this table and 6 chairs. They're nice, leather boardroom chairs. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, I'll give you, $250 for it. And he was like, oh, I can't take that. Well, he called me back Saturday night at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night and was like, if you'll come and get this tomorrow, I will let you have it for $200. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. So I drove up there. It was like a 2-hour drive.
That's awesome.
And picked it up. It's been perfect condition, but he was renting the place that he had it in, and the people had just been like, okay, well, we can move in, but we want a place we can move into immediately. So he had to get rid of it. So he was just like, just come get it and get it out of my way. So
that's awesome.
And got a nice table out of it. So But now I'm
Nice.
thinking of one of those table toppers,
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
Have you messed with one where you at any conventions where they've had the table toppers?
Robert Burke's got one.
Oh,
And I
nice.
played over at his house the other day, and they're nice. I was kind of skeptical, I'll be honest, but it's nice. It's good to play on.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that you can like actually like take it off the table and like take it, like if you wanted to take it to Mega MooseCon, like that's a feasible thing you could actually do,
Yeah, actually.
Cool.
Also, hey Kent, what's up?
Kenson in the hangout, what's going on, man? We can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
This is flashbacks to the misplaced Meeple's Skype call with Rob a couple
Oh
weeks ago.
yes.
Oh, where everybody's muted.
No,
Skype
2
just
hours
being
of-
Skype.
It's just all of us are on and Rob can't talk, but he refuses to give up. So, I mean, what do you think, Matt? We're on for 2 hours, like me, Matt, and Crystal, just like mostly BSing, like we're not getting a ton done, and Rob is just the whole time like just like charadesing stuff.
And then occasionally, because his mic was being weird, so occasionally he'd be like, "Yeah, so anyway, I want to go." And like you can tell he's screaming, right? But it's just really quiet, and then it would just ramp up, and he's like, "Can you guys hear me?" And we're like, "Yeah, I can hear you, man. Just calm down."
Oh, wow.
It's a little intense.
Yeah. That was the night that birthed the Speak Up portraits. That was or Speak Out or whatever that game is with the dental pieces.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. We're doing that again. We're gonna have the pre-show hangout.
Ah.
I had a hoot with that, man. I sat there and had a couple of beers and I was dying, man. It was
That's what I need. More beer.
beer and Skype. I feel like that was the most 2018 moment of my life. I'm like, we're gonna roll up characters and then we end up online. Like we were reading off monikers cards at one point.
Nice.
Like 4 hours later, it's like 1:30 before I went to bed. That was silly.
Yeah. Well, because there was some technical glitch in the first 2 minutes of that podcast where you just couldn't hear. But I understand you guys were on for 2 hours before that, trying to sort things out.
It was
making characters.
a different day. They had gotten together
Yeah.
and all made characters and stuff like that. So
Right.
Yeah, we had like a non-recorded roll-up kind of because I don't
Because
think
if you
Rob
can't
had
tell,
actually
we're not super experienced with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. So we were all discussing with Adam and everybody, or they were discussing like, oh, how do we make our characters and this thing and stuff like that. So
Yeah, like I've played enough 5th to tell Rob what to do, but like I just picked it up in the fall to kind of teach it to my kids. My kids have been playing like Fate and Goblin Quest previous to that, and I was like, they're ready. So I re-entered the world of D&D. It had been a long time for me.
And for me, I've played tons and tons and tons of 4th edition, but then it's like, oh, now we're playing 5th edition. It's like, I know what you're trying to do. What's the name of the skill that you have to use? I think it's that one. That one's it. Because they just slightly tweaked a couple names on the skills. It's like, oh, that's not there anymore. Let's do this one. That's the right one, I think, maybe.
Yeah, they kind of condensed that abilities tree a little bit from 3.5 and from 4. It works. I like 5th edition a lot. It works for kids. It's great. It's like a little bit easier. It's a little less forced technical stuff.
Yeah. 4th edition is the one edition I've skipped.
Yeah. I know a lot of people did.
Yeah, I started playing when I was 9 years old, and I'm 43 now. Starting with the D&D, the red box, the D&D basic, and played that. But when 4th edition came out, we discovered Pathfinder, so we were playing that for. We were like, oh, okay, then, and then we came back to. Well, now we're playing Powered by the Apocalypse type games like Dungeon World or Monster of the Week and things like that. They work really well for if you're just going to play for an hour and a half one night. That's the game to use because you're just rolling d6s, and everything is just 7 to 9 is a partial success, 10 and up you're a complete success. The DM does not roll any dice. And it's all narrative, playing that way.
Gotcha.
So very little looking up minutiae of rules and whatnot.
Gotcha.
But we've played D&D for years, so we know those books reasonably well, save for the 5th edition. Did you guys use the online stuff, the D&D Beyond from Wizards?
Just for reference.
Yeah.
I'm using it just because my printer has decided to stop working. So I was like, okay, let me just digital this whole thing. But I really like it because it's just, I don't know. I don't even have to do math anymore. Like, it's literally just like, oh, look, I lost a hit point. I take a short rest. Everything just comes back. This is magic. It removes a lot of the, I guess, keeping track of stuff. But for some people, that's very much something that they're into. So
Like to do.
Yeah, I feel that way about it. Like, I have an account. I haven't used it much other than to skim through.
Yeah.
And there's even more so with board games, RPGs for me, there's something about, like, pencil shavings and scrawled notes and stuff that, like, I kind of I feel a little bit more like old manny. Like, I want to listen to this on vinyl. It sounds so much better. Like, where, like, I'm like really on the fence about it. Like, even like I had written some adventures for my kids for their 5th edition game. I have like a 3rd and 4th grade 5th edition game that happens at my house, and I wrote some stuff, and then, like, I was like, well, it'd be easier for me to, like, just put these little maps and stuff on, like, either my iPad or my laptop and run it. But then I'm like, nah, I feel guilty, and I end up with all the reference books next to me, and I play it, on a spiral bound book where I have all my stuff in it. I even cut out all my little monster cards to keep track of them.
So I got to brag just a little bit because my daughter's 15 and they run a board game club at school.
Nice.
It's like Wednesday night and then Friday night. And for the past like 6 months, she's been running a Savage World campaign.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
She's the queen bee of that club, Mark.
Yeah. She does real good with it, and she's gotten upset and kicked some people out of the group already. And
well, they're
Savage.
They're really the first generation of teens that actually have parents who are RPGers, right?
Yeah.
I'm 40. Nobody's parents did it, right? We were the first ones, right? But now
my parents did it, or my dad did it. So that's one of the main reasons I'm into gaming, is because my dad played D&D during college and stuff like that. But then we played Gamma World growing up. So, like, from the age of like 12 till like I was 18, we played in the same Gamma World campaign. So it was pretty crazy.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, you're young enough. I consider you that second generation there.
Yeah.
Whippersnapper.
Well, I guess my dad must have been like on the like right when that stuff came out, was like right when he was in college. So I guess it hit just at the right time, and then he started with us when we were pretty young. So I don't think that's most people's case, and it's starting to become more of a case these days.
Roy is 14. He's 14.
No, I'm 31. It's not that young.
Well, I recall Christian Peterson saying that there's certainly a wave of young adults in their 20s. They're playing RPGs and board games, and then the demographics fall off, and then they're back up again in their mid 30s, early 40s. So. In that when you're getting married, it seems like when you're getting married, you stop gaming for a little while and then come back into it once you've settled down.
It's hard.
You try to hide all that nerdy stuff from your.
It is kind of funny that you say that, because when I met my wife, I wasn't really gaming that much. I was mostly playing in a band, and now it all flooded back.
Way cooler.
Yeah.
You bait and switch the crap out of her.
Well, my wife,
I've met Roy's wife. She is an angel.
Oh, yeah.
Saint, and a soft-spoken, patient woman. I don't know what she's.
Oh yeah, no. My wife. I introduced her, while we were still dating, and she said, this stuff is okay. It's kind of fun. That's it. I knew. That's when that's good enough for me. That's.
So, did we ever get your microphone fixed, Kent?
No.
No. Hey, Kent's here to look pretty on the camera. Way to go, Kent. Now we just need your Spider-Man/Batman outfit. It'd be great. He's going to type angry things in chat now. Kent, you... Cool. Yeah, Skype sometimes just acts crazy. And, I mean, like we said, we had tons of issues with Rob's for a while, and it was like actually a computer issue of his, so hopefully... Hope it's not too bad.
Fickle Skype. Yeah, I'm really excited that like it's so funny, like the EGN RPG thing. EGN RPG, hashtag EGN RPG.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I harassed everyone enough that it happened. I'm gonna take credit for harassment. It's been cool. I've got another game starting next month here at home, and then with Kids on Bikes is getting delivered soon too.
Yeah.
Definitely think I'm gonna try to set up a private play with the EGN group so we can give that a shot on Skype one night, because that I read through the PDF. But I'm not gonna. Again, this is that old man thing. I'm not playing it until I got the book, man. It looks fun.
Well, that's another thing is like with the dice, because Crystal plays in another game with a group of other podcasters, and they use like digital dice rollers, I think, so that everybody can like see the dice rolls and stuff like that, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But when she was like, "Oh, are we using like a digital thing?" I'm like, "No, I'm using real dice. Like if I'm playing D&D, I have to roll real dice. It's not the same as clicking a button." So, and I have all these polyhedral dice that I've gotten tons of. It's like I need to use them for something. So
yeah, I think we did that that other night too, where we were all on and we're like, look at how many freaking dice I own that I never roll. Like behind me is just like these are bags of dice. Just
Right.
Yeah.
dice. There's more.
I
Dice,
honestly wish
like-
more board games used like the full like D&D set of dice. Like I like that's one of the things I liked about the Pathfinder Adventure card game is I actually got to use the full set of polyhedral dice. Even though the game got a little bit samey after a while, it was cool to be able to be like, yeah, I'm rolling all my different sided dice. More games
Even
should
have just
all
a
the
bag
different
of gems.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're playing quartz
That
right
can-
now.
I got dice as a wedding gift. Someone
That's
had
awesome.
like really fancy, small little precious stone dice. I think there was one is like a cat's eye, a gate, and another like a dwarven metal, whatever sort of deal.
Oh, that's pretty
So
neat.
yeah, so they got me fancy dice for my wedding as a wedding present.
Yeah, I got a D&D lapel pin too. I'm right there with you.
Oh yeah, same thing.
Oh man, I got a mixer.
Hey man, that can come in handy.
We do use it to make drinks on game night though. So
That's
Here you go.
Those margaritas aren't going to mix themselves, Mark.
true.
Yep.
Gotta have it.
I actually met several gamers that don't like to use like a dice rolling app simply because they feel that computers are not really random. They're right. The code is not true random, but dice, I guess, are, even if they are weighted. They can be.
I'm sure there's a programmer who would disagree with that vehemently, but
Okay.
I'll go with it. I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Until
Well,
Yeah,
I-
I use apps all the time for my rolling. So
So I mean, there is like two different types of random. There's pseudo random distribution and then regular random distribution. And pseudo random is really interesting because it's if you roll like 3 threes in a row and you only are using like a 4-sided dice, it's basically whatever hasn't happened has a higher chance of triggering, so that it seems to be random. So you have a less likely occurrence of like things that have big strings of stuff or anything like that, which I guess might be what they were talking about. I don't know.
maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, why do I know that? I don't have no reason knowing. I just do.
Say something, Kent.
Hey.
Oh my goodness.
That'll work that time. That's good.
Yeah.
How's it going?
How's it going,
everybody
man?
good?
How are you?
Hey, good.
Have you been playing any
pretty
new
good
games
here.
lately?
A little bit. I played Gaia Project for the first time yesterday,
Oh, nice.
which was a little bit of an undertaking getting into. But
Had you played Terraforming, or not Terraforming
I
Mars,
never-
but
I never played Terra Mystica
Terra
at all,
Mystica? Yeah.
so it was something new. I wanted to try it because of the theme, the space theme, and I thought that was a little bit more up my alley than the fantasy. But it was pretty fun. But it's like one of those games. It seems like the theme is kind of pasted onto me. Felt like it's very Euro-y, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But it was-
Well, it's a
it was-
euro. I mean,
Yeah, definitely. But it's like it was a good experience. I like how there's very little randomness in that game, and you can kind of what's there is there, and really can't, there's no like random card draws or, like in Terraforming Mars or whatever, where it's a lot more thematic, but you get the sense like you can get screwed with randomness in that game. But anyway, it was a solid game, but it was a little bit. I needed a few more plays to really kind of get a feel for it, but it was very enjoyable.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely thought about trying to give that one a try because Terra Mystica, like, I just love it. Like, games are like, oh, space, obviously, there's space everywhere. On all of our stuff, but I thought it'd be interesting to try it out, especially since I know it's supposed to be like one of the heavy Euros, and I should really try to give some more of those a chance every now and again. But it looks cool because you're like actually trying to go and colonize and terraform and change planets so that your race can colonize more of them, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Your race has certain planets that it can terraform better than others.
Gotcha.
And so you kind of are building up you're building up mines to get more resources of ore, and you're building up trade stations to get more money, and it's kind of a balancing act between building up, whatever buildings you have out on the board, that's what's going to produce resources for you. And as you upgrade buildings, you're going to pull buildings back to your board, which will essentially reduce your income for whatever resource it produces. So it's like it's very heavy resource management.
Gotcha.
Lots and lots of that.
Right. But yeah, it's pretty enjoyable, I'd say. But it's going to take a few plays to really get a feel for it, I think.
Cool.
But it's definitely, I would recommend trying it out at least with somebody who can teach you. It's not the easiest to just pick up a rulebook and play.
Yeah, we played it one day. And then we played another game. We're like, what are we going to play now? And I was like, we could play that again. And they're like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we played it twice the same day.
Nice.
And you can play it solo. So I taught myself solo, which was kind of nice. It has a little Automa deck in it.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Did the AI beat you?
Of course. Yeah. I'm no good at it. I know how to play it, but I suck at strategy.
Hype.
See, back in my day, if we wanted to play single player, we had to play both sides of the table.
It only works for certain games.
I still do that.
Yeah, it's no problem as long as you know secret.
I teach myself games like that sometimes. Like if I get something I'm pretty hyped about, and it's like Monday, like I'm just gonna walk through this thing from start to finish. I'm not waiting for the weekend for people to come over here and play it.
Yeah.
I've done that with a lot of games. I think when I first got I want to say I got Dead of Winter for the first time, and I sat and did that, which is completely ridiculous because you're like, what would I do if I were trying to hide what I am?
And at this point, I think I'm on to them, and now I'm gonna try to exile myself.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be able to answer questions, because I think when I first got that, it was pretty new, and I had people coming over, and if I think whatever it was going to be, 5 people are playing it, maybe only 2 of the people coming over were gamers, and it was I want to make sure that I'm on top of the answers and stuff. So that's generally what I'll do with those.
Nice.
I totally go into Rado mode, It's so what would I do? What would a-hole me do? And then what would nice me do?
It's always he's like Jen. It's always his wife.
Yeah, and then what would Jen do?
Yeah, what would Jen do?
Maybe Jen really needs to go over here and get 3 bundles of wheat instead of coming back down here to this side of the board. It's in the one hand.
No. This is what Jen's. No, let's take that.
No. Actually, maybe. Dude, that guy loves games so much. He plays a lot of games that make me want to watch paint dry instead. But
he's super nice too, because I've reached out to him for a couple collaboration things, and he's immediately gotten back to me on stuff. Rado's pretty cool.
His passion seems just infectious. I'll watch him play a game that I am never even going to play. I know I won't play. I know I don't have the attention span for it, but I'll watch him play it and be like, man, if I could only get this hyped about an 1800 game, He's like, "Oh my god, wait till you see it! All the railroads, all the iron ore." Like he's like, I'm genuinely jealous of his enthusiasm.
Nice. So, have you backed any more Kickstarters, Kent?
I back way too many, but Batman currently. What's a few others? I think City of Gears just ended recently.
Yeah.
That was a.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It was. I
Very
know
flex.
Tom Vassell spoke highly of it, and I think they wanted to get it for Dice Tower Essentials, but it didn't work out. So, what's that company? Grey Fox.
Gray
I think
Fox
got
did
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that looked pretty interesting. So I went in on that one.
Mhm.
I think a few others that I've been looking at, but I haven't jumped on. Have you seen Chronicles of Crime?
No.
I think I heard about it, but I don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
It's I haven't backed it, but it's from Lucky Duck Games, the company who did Vikings Gone Wild, and it's it's kind of like an investigative murder mystery type game where you have it uses your app, smartphone app, and there's this like little magnifying glass thing you put on your phone, and it makes like a virtual reality environment for you to look around and investigate the crime scene.
Huh.
Seemed kind of cool, and it uses QR codes, and you
This
go in
looks dope.
and scan. Anyway, it looked kind of interesting, and it got, I think, Suzanne from the Dice Tower had played a prototype of it and spoke pretty highly of it.
Oh, I think I remember hearing her talk about that.
It looks like a good game. Yeah.
It looked
Seen
pretty
it.
fun, but I'm on the fence about that one. I'm not sure, but it looked different than some of the others that you might see on.
Kent, do you know how long it plays? I'm looking at the Kickstarter right now.
I'm not sure. I want to say,
Oh, 60 to 90.
yeah, I was going to say maybe an hour and a half for like a, maybe one scenario, but I think there's multiple scenarios. And I think it's one of those games where you play the scenario and you know the story, I think.
Yeah. The art's really fun.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. Like it's kind of using this AR, like an AR feature. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
Be back in 30 seconds, guys. 1 sec.
Cool.
Yeah, I posted the link in the live chat for everybody. This actually looks. Oh man, I might back this. This looks fun.
Yeah.
Damn it,
It's like
man.
an AR game more than anything, right?
Yeah, but it's an AR game with a bunch of physical
Components.
Yeah, like I was just this weekend. I just worked at a Grow with Google event, and they have this app coming out. Google does, where you have all these QR codes that you can print or buy, or people will be able to like establish an AR model with them, and you like throw it down on the floor, and then just like bring your phone up to this app, and you can like put a dinosaur in your hand or riding on your back, and all sorts of awkward stuff. This kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Yeah. This looks really cool.
I went on a Kickstarter just to review what I have backed. And just in case you were wondering, you can now get kelp jerky, the superfood of the sea. Yeah,
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. $25 for the variety 3-pack.
Yep.
They got a lot of solid stuff on the Kickstarter front page. It's
Well-
it's an ever revolving web.
That particular Kickstarter made me hungry, and I just went for a granola bar before the show when I saw that. Oh, I was like, oh, so hungry.
Did anybody
this-
else back Gentis?
Yes.
Did y'all back Gentis? Anybody back Gentis?
I did.
Yeah.
I love those.
It's
heroes.
really good.
Yeah, I'm super excited to play it. I heard so much about it from all sorts of people, but I know it's. Didn't Tony and Marty really like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think that's where I heard mostly about it. But that's
So you
looks
played it,
really
Mark?
interesting.
Yeah. We played it with Tony and Marty.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're like part of their game group, so.
Yeah. But it's just a really good, I would call it like a medium weight Euro.
Nice.
And it's got some different mechanics in it, and a time mechanic, that you can spend a little extra time to do the really good thing, and it's really nice. I can't wait to get the Kickstarter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too.
So
I
many
need to get on the
games.
Kickstarter.
Yeah, I feel like in the week I've been gone, now I'm looking at it right now, and there's like all sorts of new stuff that I shouldn't even be looking at.
I
It's
try
just
to
an
stay away
endless-
for the most part.
The bottom
I'm
of the
pretty
pit.
good.
Awesome
Yeah.
games.
I am
I'm
too,
good,
but I try to
but-
stay away myself, man. But just like with the Gentis, so now I've got the expansion coming for what have I got? I forget what it was. I know I was back the Viceroy expansion, but then it backed out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Do you,
I
have
think they're
y'all
gonna
played
relaunch
that game?
Yes, I like Viceroy. It's a good
Yeah,
game.
it's such an underrated game. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really good, and you never hardly hear about it.
Mhm.
I know he had several like play to win copies for it at Recon, but I hadn't actually got a chance to play it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, you can win it usually in different places just like that because people's never heard of it, so they just they throw it in a pile. But
That's
also
crazy.
Werewords Deluxe, I'm in for that,
Mhm.
and then one called Deadwood. This another social deduction game.
Oh, nice.
In for that.
Speaking of social deduction, did you guys see the box cover for Werewolf Legacy?
Oh, yes.
Not yet. I'll have to go look that up.
Yeah, I got the press
looks
release on that, and I was like, holy smokes, it looks awesome. But apparently what they're going to have is like they have like a notebook, like journal thing that you go through and like keep track of different things that happen during the game. And then players' characters can, like different people can be the werewolf each game, but like you have a consistent character that can be like upgraded or downgraded depending on like what happens during the game. And then there'll be like basically different, like you'll go through, I think it's supposed to be like 15 games total, which I feel like you could probably, if you wanted to like have like a long night or like a game day, you could probably bust out the whole thing of like Werewolf Legacy. You could play 15 games of Werewolf pretty easy depending on how long they are. But
I'm interested to see if it's set up like for replayability, Roy. Like it
Yeah.
seems like can I play a different character
So-
next time?
So they have like a recharge pack like they do with some of these other things. I don't know that there was an MSRP.
I heard 60.
Well, I was wondering about the recharge pack, how much that
Oh,
costs.
they're charging.
Do
Okay.
you know what kind of player count that'll support?
Oh,
what it
man,
can
I
do?
think it's a lot.
I hope
Here we
it's a
go.
lot.
Here's the email.
I hope it's like 20.
But if it's a lot, you almost have to play it all in one setting unless
Yeah.
you're gonna.
They
pick up and
say
drop
it
people.
is playable. It's more fun if you play it with the same people, but you can play it with other people like in and out and things like that. There is an 80-plus page diary which walks the game moderator through every session. There are 5 distinct chapters with 3 game session in each chapter, so 15 games. But then I guess there's like 5 chapters, so the game will, I guess, evolve in significant ways in between each chapter. You know.
It almost sounds like it's becoming an RPG a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
a little bit what legacy games do is they tie the different things together and make it more of like a campaign.
Well, I guess I'm wondering in terms of like if the game master suddenly is playing out more specific scenarios and then keeping notes, like he's almost really DMing it, kind of. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see it, but
Gotcha.
Yeah, Rob Davio is one of the designers on it. I don't know about Allspatch. I don't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah,
that
Ted Allspock is the guy who made Ultimate Werewolf Legacy. We had him on the
Right.
podcast a little while back, but
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he does a lot of these social deduction games and stuff like that. He's basically the owner of Bezier Games.
Right.
But he teamed up with Rob Davio to get all of the stuff done. And I know Daryl Andrews did a lot of the like development and playtesting for it as well, I'm pretty sure, because he's been posting a lot about it and having developed it. And he's the guy who did Sengrata and stuff like that. So lots of cool people working on the project. So
Yeah. And normally I'm the last person to, complain about the high price of games, but $60 for Werewolf. So I'd be curious at how much game they really pack in that, and how much.
yeah, that is crazy.
How much more than Ultimate Werewolf is there in that box, right? So
Yeah,
to justify like nearly 3 times the cost, right? So let's see.
And way less replayability because you can play Werewolf unlimited
Yeah.
number of times.
Oh yeah.
I think the thing that's going to be interesting to me is to see if they can create the same level of sort of stories that like Werewolf generates. So like you can pull it out with people who've never really played games before, and everybody will end up talking about something. You know, they'll be like, "Oh my god, that was crazy! That was insane."
Mm-hmm.
And
is there a functional werewolf game in there when you're done?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Right. Do the Charterstone version where it's basically once you're done, it's like a set game from then on.
Yeah, I mean it's like with Charterstone, like I was talking about earlier. Charterstone, when done with it, you've got a worker placement game that you can continue to play. So for somebody who might not be in for that, they could play it with you once. I just wonder if you end up maybe with something that is permanent at the end of that. It would seem like the type of game that would allow for it.
Right.
I don't know.
Everybody starts out as a villager and is just slowly earning different powers to learn different things.
I mean, it's probably going to be along those lines.
Yeah, you're a plain villager, but you can become. I'm going to try to become the blacksmith. Oh crap! I'm the tanner.
Whatever. I'm the tanner. Yeah. This is going to be awesome.
Now you have to enhance the tanner's abilities so that you're better at being a tanner.
I'm already practiced for the drunk. I'm just saying.
Well, it seems by the description you don't just update the roles, but also the village itself.
Right. Yeah. There's this gigantic diary of all that sort of stuff too. So.
Oh. Right, and then you're not necessarily playing the same role each time. So then,
sometimes you're the werewolf, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're other things.
Yeah. But then I feel like maybe each chapter might be a little disjointed, so I'd have to see it. I'd have to see what.
It looks like the recharge packs are $20. So, it'll be interesting.
I'm super. My interest is peaked. Like I definitely I want that to be good because of the sheer amount of Ultimate Werewolf and One Night Ultimate Werewolf that I've played.
Yeah.
Like I'm like what Matt was saying. Like I'm just like all about like got a few people over that aren't necessarily going to play a board game, but I'm like, oh, dude, I got my hard case here with every Ultimate Werewolf sleeved in it ever, so we can kind of just whip them out. I mean, I make up rules off the top of my head with that game at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, this sounds like that. That's what he does. That's what I'm not looking it up. Like that's what we're...
Nice.
Actually, with legacy games, there is Aeon's End Legacy. That's a deck builder that's currently on Kickstarter. I think it's in its last 2 days. I think that is a deck builder that I really like. You basically play some breach mages fighting usually one big boss that has like 70 hit points to your 10. And as you're building your deck, activating breaches, loading spells into breaches, and attacking that monster there. And now what's on Kickstarter, that's a legacy, as you start off as junior breach mages that just finishing off in school, and you have not, you don't have all the nifty powers as a real breach mage would have.
Yeah.
And then as you go in the story, you're building that up, which
awesome.
One of my favorite deck builders.
So with the legacy one, will it actually have like normal legacy stuff in it?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know.
Like, are you going to be stickering cards and ripping up stuff and things like that?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, Roy. It's like
so.
It's got markers all over it. I like it. Aeon's End's pretty good. This looks cool. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah. So you start with like one of 4 mages. You get to name the mage, and then I guess after your first scenario or whatnot, you are getting stickers, you are doing upgrades, and then as different chapters go by, different things get unlocked. And and then afterwards you do have a functional game. Your character can then be played forever, and it's compatible with the rest of Aeon's End. So you can actually start with this with the Kickstarter, and then expand it later with other Aeon's End merchandise, with other expansions and whatnot. So it's all compatible, cross-compatible amongst them all. So, yeah.
We've sold Adam on like 3 Kickstarters tonight.
Yeah. This is bad. You guys, this is bad. This
one looks good too. On Batman.
You know what? I'm not going
to. The thing is, he could back all of the other Kickstarters we talked about if he didn't back Batman.
Oh,
Yeah, that's just about right, dude. Because the Aeon's End one it's 65 base, and then like kind of 130ish to get into the big ones. So
dag.
there's a $200 one too, but for $65, you're getting the game, a reset pack, an accessory pack, and a playmat for $65.
I don't think you get a reset pack, do you?
I'm reading it right here, dude. It's $65 Adept Core Pledge, $25 reset pack. It's add 25.
It's add 25. Yeah, you can add the reset pack.
So those are going to be in the manager. So the game's $65. You can add them in the manager.
Gotcha.
It's not bad. Yeah, because
it's not.
regular Anne's End on miniature market would be like $40, $45. So, MSRP is around the same as regular Aeon's End, just going off the top of my head. So it's not too bad.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. Speaking of legacy games, has anybody heard anything about the God, what was it, like Origins?
Yeah, the Civ legacy game that they were supposed to have like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No, I haven't really heard any news.
I haven't heard anything.
All right, it's probably dead. Dead to me anyway. That's.
I remember talking about it on the podcast and hearing other people talk about it and being pretty excited, but nope. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, me and Rob looked for it at Gen Con when we went like 2 years ago. And they were like, hey, it's not ready yet. Okay. He was like, we're really happy you're excited. It's like, okay.
Well, that's a fairly ambitious project because they're trying to make, if I remember right, they're trying to make 5 legacy games, really. So one game follows to the next and then to the next. So I'd imagine you have to design all 5 games at once before you get the first one out.
Yeah, that might be kind of what they're realizing, I guess, and sort of.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder if it's like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't have announced it at all, or if it doesn't end up happening and stuff like that. So that's rough.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Awesome, guys. Well, I think I'm going to do our drawing for the Stuffed Fables copy that we have for patrons now. I have all the names set up in thing here, and all I have to do is click one button and it'll randomly select a patron. So I got to actually get to where I'm at that page. So we have a whole bunch of people here, and we're going to click and see who we get. That is the wrong thing. That's crap. Okay, I gotta go back. Gotta go back into it, but it should be fun.
The suspense is killing me.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm really happy that I put all of the names in a notes file before I refreshed that page, or else I would have been really annoyed if I just copied and pasted it from. Okay, let me copy and paste it all back in my random generator. Dun 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 dun. Come on. Pick a random name. There we go. No way! That's not fair. That's not real. Can you guys see what it is? Does it say?
No, I can't see.
Okay. It should be in OBS. If you look in the YouTube video, it says the name. I don't know if I should say it out loud.
Is it me?
But literally it says Mark Gale.
Oh! I was literally going to make a joke when you were like, oh, and everything's gone. And I was going to be like, actually, what happened was Mark got drawn, and then Roy was like, we can't do that. And then
Well, the funny thing is, like, when I put them all in, I, like, clicked the thing a whole bunch of different times, and, like, a whole bunch of different people's names showed up. But, like, it's kind of interesting. So, hey, congratulations, Mark. That'll make it easier to get it to you. We'll definitely be trying to get the copy of the game out after we get our review done, since it's the game that everybody picked for us to review. We still got Matt to try to play it so he can at least know the mechanics and things like that. And then also I want to try to play hopefully a full story with my kids, but that should totally be a ton of fun because it's a great game. So we'll be having another Game of the Quarter soon, and I'll be having everybody vote again on which game they'd like us to review and give away. So, and everybody's frozen again.
You know what's really wild? That's twice now we have given away a game on the patron hangout, and it's went to somebody who was on the
actually
hangout.
on the hangout. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have a whole lot of like quantity of
True.
people, so the odds that happens, even though they're not super high, you know, it can still happen. So
It's high enough.
It's high
Yeah.
enough, you know. But last time when we gave away Century Golem Edition, which was amazing, and I really didn't want to give it away because that game's so good. It went to one of our awesome patrons from New Zealand. So I'm pretty sure that's probably like the only copy of Century Crystal Edition in New Zealand, just because like if they had to buy it themselves, like the shipping would be ridiculous. Shipping was ridiculous for us too, but I still really want to send it because I'm like, this game's so good, and you won, you get this game. Because he was super nice. He's like, man, it's really hard to ship things to New Zealand. You can pick somebody else if you want to. I'm like, no, you won, man. You're getting the game. Yeah. So, but yeah, we definitely want to say thank you to all of our amazing patrons that help us do the show. It definitely helps to pay for all the bills and helps us to do new exciting stuff. So thanks everybody for helping us out for the patrons and stuff like that. But yeah. This has been a ton of fun. We're definitely going to try to have a patron hangout that's earlier during the day soon. So that way people we had some guys from like UK and stuff like that are like, man, it's really hard to get on if you do it at night. So we'll try to mix up the time zone thing so we can have a variety of awesome patrons come on as well. So yeah, was tons of fun talking to you guys. And congratulations, Mark.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming and talking. And being patrons and all that jazz.
Thanks everybody in chat. Hopefully we can have more people join in next time, and we'll let you guys know more ahead of time, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah.
Peace.
Outro.
Nobody can believe Mark won, Rob.
Thanks.
Nobody believes it.